And hello everyone, it's Emir here. Today I'm going to showcase my three Freyna builds that I use. I have to mention that these builds are probably not optimized in terms of being the most, you know, DPS that you can possibly get out of Freyna. However, it is something that I found balance between being, really high DPS and being comfortable to play with, not risking a lot of, stuff to be able to pull them off. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So for the first build, I'm going to showcase my farming or mobbing build, however you want to call it. And it's a contagion build. I know there's people that prefer venom synthesis. However, I don't know why you would use this and make your life more complicated if you can just simply use contagion and just press one skill and be done with everything. So for starters, we got our HP amplification mod, for more HP. We got tech amplification, focus on toxic, focus on tech, toxic amplification. This will be our main damage modules that will also give us cooldown reduction. Um, for this, we're gonna go for maximize range and skill expansion because we don't really need duration since we are pretty much just killing everything on site and our venom is spreading everywhere, so we don't really need duration. And I know that contagion is kind of weird situation where the range falls down, so doesn't really matter that much with maximization skill expansion. We pretty much eliminate that issue with contagion. Now nimble fingers for even more cooldown, and I left MP conversion and venom syncytium for the last because you can change both modules depending on what you want. So if you run just a HP amplification and you feel that a little bit squishy, you can change MP conversion for time distribution. As you can see, time distribution gives you a little bit more cooldown and more HP, which MP conversion gives you double the cooldown but reduces your MP. So if you're feeling a little bit squishy during your dungeon runs, you can use time distribution instead of MP conversion. You will lose obviously a little bit of cooldown, but you gain a little bit more HP. The only reason I'm using MP conversion here is because the cooldown on your Venom Baptism is 28 seconds, which is really fast for, the last bosses at the end of the dungeon. However, if you are playing on matchmaking most of the time, you probably don't really need the super low cooldown on Venom Baptism unless you have like a group that you're carrying. But if not, everything will be dead before you can use your second Venom Baptism. And now for Venom Simcitium, you can either use this or swap it for multi-talented. The reason why multi-talented is also good here is because of the when using the tech active skill effect range and power modifier for 5 seconds, right? Obviously, this will go higher the more you enhance it. I don't have it because I seriously cannot bother putting another catalyst in Freyna. Um, but it can be swapped because I used another YouTube creator called Bash Kawaii calculator, and I found that if you use Venom Simcitium, your first skill, like projectile damage, does more damage than if you use multi-talented. However, if you were to use multi-talented, the venom, like poison, the tick, will do more damage than with Venom Syncytium. So it's really up to you. The damage difference, at least on what the calculator said, wasn't really big, where I probably wouldn't make any difference. However, Venom Syncytium offers the critical hit resistance, so can make you a little bit more tanky, right, than multi-talented. So that's it for the mobbing build. It's pretty standard contagion build. And without being said, let's go right into the next one. For my next build, it's gonna be my bossing build. It's pretty much gonna be a build based on venom injection and overwhelming shield. As you can see, we have pretty standard DPS modules. We have both focus modules and both amplification modules to give us more cooldown and damage. This will also be paired with both cooldown modules so that we can use our Venom Baptism even faster. However, since this is like a burst build, we don't really need the super cooldown. So you can probably change this to time distribution if you really wanted to. and Exilic Extension to be able to use our full magazine while using Venom Baptism. Dangerous Ambush for the added burst. And for the components, we want a Slayer set because of the 26% additional power. And for Reactor, we want pretty much just Colossus and Tech. This will be the most damage you can pump out with a reactor. However, I need to be clear that this build is not able to one phase gluttony unless you meet like really specific um, instructions. So it's not really consistent at all in one phase in gluttony. But for everything else, you will kill them in like 6 seconds, 7 seconds. So this will be your burst build. Now, my variation of this build is that if you remove Dangerous Ambush and you use here HP, the HP mod, increase HP, this build will allow you to be able to be used in group content while still having the full 28-second cooldown Venom Baptism. However, for this build, I don't recommend that you use the Slayer set. However, you need to use the Distorted Resolve set because Slayer will consume your MP really fast and you will be able to fully use your Venom Injection module. So, Slayer for this variation of my build is not recommended. Always get this one. And as for rolls, you always want max HP and MP on the first component. And as far as the other three components go, I would suggest that you run MP so that you can um, last longer in your Venom Injection and probably change like change it with a little bit of shield, max shield, to be able to tank more. It's up to you. However, I like MP more for being able to use more Venom Injection. But yeah, I haven't gotten the specific roles I wanted to, so that's why I'm not using it. And as far as the weapon goes, Venom Baptism doesn't really care about your weapon, it only cares about your ammunition and fire rate. So what I run when I'm using that build is my max ammo build for my Enduring Legacy, which pretty much just takes into account these four modules: the expanded weapon charge, concentrate, ammo, fire rate, and sharp precision shot. These four modules are the only ones that are gonna be taken into account when using um baptism and your venom injection. So nothing else really matters. These are obviously just for added DPS on my weapon when I'm not ulting or for skilling. And yeah, this is pretty much my both variations of my bossing builds. So let's go right into the next one. So for my last build I'm going to be showcasing is my Giga tank build. For some funny reason, I think that Freyna is probably the best tank in the game with Venom Injection. What Venom Injection does is that when it's used and active, our shield will recover at a really fast rate. In a build, we have 2 HP modules and 3 shield modules, which will give us around 20,000 value shield. Now, energy collection is used for when we pick the MP orbs, we get more in return so we can have our second skill up longer. And we have 2 skill cost reduction modules. As you can see, it went from 6 MP per second to 3 per second, which is just probably infinite venom injection. These two, perfect anti-venom and toxic antibody, can be swapped for any other element of your choice depending on what boss you're facing. Um, and what they do is just make you more tanky and remove the annoying debuff from any element. So for the fire one is the burn, the Venom one is the poison, and you get what I'm saying. However, this build is obviously depending on your weapon. I'm using Enduring Legacy. Here's my build. This just is pretty standard fire DPS build, nothing crazy. You can probably swap fire priority for hit circulation, depending on you. This one is more burst, this one is more consistent damage. It's all up to you. And as far as our components go, we want to have here HP MP, MP on here. And I would suggest probably having MP and shield in these two. I just don't have it, or MP and defense. Um, as far as this 4 set go or the 2 set, it doesn't really matter because we're not focusing on our skill power. However, If you have 4 pieces with really good rolls of distorted resolve, you can use it. You know, it's always nice to have the 14 toxic skill power modifier, and it even has a chance to recover our shield, so that's even more tankiness, which is pretty crazy already. So imagine if I had the 4 piece. And as far as reactor go, if you really wanted to optimize this build, it would be a skill cost reduction and probably a tech skill, or even um a cooldown, because we don't have cooldown on our build. So yeah, for reactor doesn't really matter because we are pretty much just using our weapon. But yeah, if you really wanted to optimize it, you will get anything with skill cost reduction for even longer duration. This build will make you really tanky, and it's really fun to use on those fights because you simply can soak everything and any damage from the boss. And yeah, just try it. So with that being said, that's all my 3 builds. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.